It's so frustrating looking for a job, isn't it? It can be so painful. Just the thought of going through the process of applying for jobs and getting rejected, it does take its toll. But today I'm going to share some helpful ideas for you to land that job. So I thought my CV was great until a recruiter pointed out that I shouldn't just list my duties on a CV. Instead, I should have it as achievements. So for example, if you are a fundraising officer and you've raised a substantial amount of money for your charity, then you need to list that. I raised this amount of money in my previous role, and then you will say the amount, and you will also say how you went about achieving that specific target. So always listed as achievements. Have you won awards? What makes you different from any other candidate? That's what needs to come across in your CV. It's expensive to ask someone to look at your CV. So instead, ask a recruiter to assess your CV. What works well in the CV? What can you do differently? And then change your CV accordingly. Because remember, recruiters understand what makes a good candidate and they know what makes a great CV. So ask the experts and you can get that feedback for free. Are you making full use of the job portals? Do you have Monster? Do you have LinkedIn? Have you registered? Have you also enabled that you will receive the job notifications as soon as they are available so that you can be one of the first applicants? Register for as many websites as possible so that you can apply to as many possible roles. Because remember, the more roles you apply for, the more likely you are to land that job. So for example, if you're on LinkedIn and you like a particular company, go and look at their page on LinkedIn, see if there are any vacancies. Remember, recruiters are also looking for people on LinkedIn. So make sure that your profile is updated on LinkedIn. Make sure that you contact as many recruitment agencies as possible. So for example, if you're a healthcare assistant, be sure to register for as many recruitment agencies that help recruit in the healthcare sector. Don't just register for 2 or 3. No, register for as many as possible. Remember, the more that you register to different agencies, the more that you apply for jobs, the more likely you will land an interview and you'll get that job. So you've been applying for all these jobs. You've been on LinkedIn, you've been on Monster, you've contacted the recruitment agencies, and they've helped you improve your CV. Everything's going well, and you actually have an interview. That's fantastic news. Now, you have the job description, you know the company name, you need to do your research. And by researching, I don't mean that you need to do an hour preparation. Really thoroughly research the company, thoroughly understand the job spec. Go armed with information so that if they ask you any type of question, you will be prepared to answer those questions. I have been interviewed numerous times and I've also interviewed candidates. So I know that if a candidate comes really prepared, understands the company well, has taken the time to look at our website, our social media pages, has written down notes about the company, then I think this candidate is really proactive. So before an interview, make sure that you have notes about the company. Make sure that you haven't just prepared for 1 hour. Make sure that you've thoroughly prepared. That's really, really important. Having a portfolio is so important, and it's crucial to bring your portfolio to the interview. So for example, if you're a graphic designer and you've created flyers and brochures and posters, bring examples of that to the interview, because it's one thing to have it written in a CV, but it's so valuable to actually show it to your potential employer so that they can understand the work that you create. So for example, if you were a marketing assistant and you assisted with certain campaigns, do you have any tangible proof of those campaigns? Bring it to your interview and show them what you've done. Make sure that you have questions so that you can ask the interviewer, because when you have questions, it shows that you've taken the time out to actually understand the company and that you're eager to know more. So really have those questions, practice them at home on a friend, so that when you ask the questions, it doesn't sound foreign coming from you, because you know that you've practiced it before and you feel confident to ask those questions. And really, There's so many videos on YouTube about how to prepare well in an interview. So make sure you go through that. Make sure you understand what are common questions that are asked during an interview and practice them at home. Practice them in front of the mirror so that once you actually hear yourself saying an answer, you will know, does this answer sound great? Can I improve this answer? So really, preparation is key, you know. So to recap, improve your CV by asking recruiters for advice on how to improve your particular CV. Have your achievements written in your CV so that a recruiter or potential employer can understand how you stand out from all the other candidates. Really register to as many recruitment agencies as possible and make sure that you receive their job alerts. Also register to as many job portals as possible, especially LinkedIn, because recruiters are always looking for people on LinkedIn. Have a portfolio, irrespective of what career you're in. Have a portfolio and bring that to the interview. Really prepare and know the company that you are actually interviewing for and have questions ready and go through possible questions and answers before coming to that interview. Now, I know that most people look for permanent jobs, but consider contract or temp jobs as well, especially if your finances are running low and you just need some finances in the interim and you can still search for that permanent job whilst you're in that contract or temp job, then it is a good option to look at contract and temp jobs. Don't say no to possibilities. Maybe you've never tried a contract or temp job and you're apprehensive about starting something new. You may actually prefer contract to temp jobs, you just never know. Also consider flexi jobs. For example, you may think, I have to have a Monday to Friday job. But also, if you're really stuck and finances are running low, consider a job which is Monday to Thursday with the Friday off. Again, you can look for that Monday to Friday job whilst you are in this flexi job, or even a job that is half a day as opposed to a full day. Sometimes you just need to take something in the interim and look for what you actually desire, just so that you are not running on empty in terms of your finances. I actually did this. I was offered a flexi job where I worked half a days, and I took that job and I did it for a short while until I got a job which was Monday to Friday and it was a full day job. Sometimes other options come into play and don't be afraid to take it. Now you may be saying, well, I'm a university student. I don't have any work experience at all. Who's going to hire me? Well, why don't you try having volunteer work experience? You can volunteer at a place which is closely aligned to what you studied and what career you'd actually like to get into, so that when they see that, yes, you don't have paid for work experience, but you do have skills that you've learned whilst volunteering. So don't be afraid to pick up the phone and phone companies or organizations that are closely suited to what you studied. And because it's free, they don't have to pay you as a volunteer, they'd be very inclined to actually ask you to start. And sometimes when you volunteer in a role and you do so well, when a position does arise, they'll ask you to apply for that role, and you have a high chance of getting it because they already know your work ethic. So grab those opportunities to volunteer as well. There are so many options to have remote work. Like, for example, you have websites like Upwork and Fiverr. So if you are a copywriter, for example, a graphic designer, you can liaise with potential employers from all over the world, from America, Canada, Australia, etc., because they hire people via Upwork and Fiverr. So if you're interested in that, be sure to actually create a profile on those platforms so that when a person is looking for somebody, for example, they're looking for somebody to create a website, and if you are a website creator, then they can contact you and you can get work without even leaving your home. I also know that it can be so demotivated. You may have prepared so thoroughly for an interview, and then you went for the interview, you felt so great about it, you thought, I must have landed this job, and then you get the dreaded call saying, sorry, we actually gone with another applicant. But don't despair. Keep trying, because you are prepared. You are prepared. You are prepared. You are prepared. The opportunity is going to come. And when that opportunity comes, and when you actually go for the next interview or the next, something is going to hit, because you are no longer unprepared. You have a great CV, you know how to interview, you know what questions to ask. So your chances of getting the job are much higher. Best of luck to you. I'm sure that it will go well. And let me know in the comments below what you find difficult or what you enjoy about the whole job process. Keep well and take care.